Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to twitch.tv/ActionRunPods. How are we all doing today? My name is Graham Day. This is Bibby. Let me check my audio first. I'm going to check it. Bibby. No, it's
Yeah,
good.
it's bad.
Is it bad? Check it. Bibby.
Yep.
No, it's
Yeah.
bad. Fuck. Didn't think it was. Okay, BRB. BRB. I thought that might be the case. BRB.
I speeded up the stream. Yeah. I sit and wait. Does an angel? Places where we go when we ginger and old. That's salvation. That's the wings. Right, that's enough of that. This is not just singing.
For the love of God, bring back Graham's crackly mic. I can't take Bibby singing. Yeah, the thing is, when we're not on the hold screen, you can still hear Bibby. So I was like, do you know what? They can't hear me, but they can hear you. Give us a song, Bibby. Certainly. I was doing the full-on disco DJ sort of thing. What was it? Oh, I
What
can't
do they know?
remember. Yeah. What do they know? And do they know? And what was it they don't know? The places where we go. Nice. Anyway, welcome in. Sorry for the delay. We do get that issue occasionally at Streamlabs. If you've been here before, you know. We get an issue sometimes when we start up where the mic just shits itself and we just have to kick it in the nuts. But we're fine now. Welcome in. My name is Graham. This is Bibby. He is not Robbie Williams, even though he sounds. Actually, I take it back, Big. You don't sound like that. I apologise, mate. Calm down, mate. Calm down. He is Bibby. Anyway, we are the Ice Cream. This is The Scoop, the UK's #1 video game podcast, even if we do say so ourselves. And we're going to give you the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games, including one that Arms of Atlas has seen. Is where can I get these PS5s at launch? Tell me. We will get there. I mean, obviously, it's all part of the news. We full on decided to clickbait this morning because, you know, everyone wants to. But before we get into the news, a couple of things to run through. We're going to give you our thoughts and impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories of the world of video games. And we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions so we can create a little bit of narrative, a little bit of back and forth where we talk about all of those stories. And it's important that we do have this narrative. If you are live with us here right now on twitch.tv/icecreamuploads, where we go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. on the dot-ish. It's not quite on the dot, but ish. It's 10:51 right now. Yeah, if you are with us live, please get involved in the chat because we turn this into a podcast, a video for YouTube, and an audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Everyone listening and watching on demand gets all the benefit of this afterwards, and they get to talk to us in the YouTube comments like shitloads of people have been doing this last week. But they don't get to speak to us right now live here in the chat. So if you are here, use your voice on behalf of those. Before we jump into the news, and before we have a little bit of a chinwag before that, a couple of things to mention. We now have 2,000 followers. We are over 2,000 followers, and we launched our 2K giveaway yesterday. So if you want to see what that is, exclamation mark giveaway in the chat. You could also type exclamation mark 2K if you want. It's pretty much the same thing. Speaking of 2K, not only have we hit 2K followers, but huge thanks to 2K and that man in the chat, Mr. Tassim Anvia, for helping support the channel. They've given us a few games to include in that giveaway. So if you want a copy of PGA, maybe a copy of Mafia, maybe some WWE, okay, WWE, 2K Battlegrounds, then those are included in the giveaway. Also, shout out to Muslims as well for giving us another selection box included in that giveaway. You can just head to our socials, get involved. Nice. There are many ways to enter. Don't forget that you can enter multiple times each day. So just by dropping into the stream and just by clicking the links on the player.gg gets you extra entries. More entries, more chances to win. There you go. And the other thing, exclamation mark Cyberpunk, we are giving away a copy of Cyberpunk to a subscriber. That's a bit different. The other giveaway is just a free giveaway. Everyone can get involved. The Cyberpunk giveaway is just for subs. So if you're a sub, make sure you check that exclamation mark Cyberpunk in the chat. And breathe. Anyway, before we jump into the news, how's things? Good.
Yeah.
Get up to anything last night?
Not really, no. Watched I'm a Celebrity, obviously. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Played a few. I'd say saying to you before we went live that I've been playing House Flipper, but on my tablet. Amazing game. I don't know if anyone's played. Very therapeutic. If it is free on Android, again, I've played it for probably about 3 hours. I've not got to a point where it even hints that you need to put money in. So hopefully that will continue. But yeah, very therapeutic. Very much enjoying it. What about you? What did you do last night?
Guess. Guess what I
Did
played.
you play a game that starts with P and ends in UBG?
I didn't. I played a game that starts with P and ends in Layer Unknown's Battlegrounds. So,
Okay.
yes, nice bit of PUBG. Play with the boys, got a win, jobs are good. And nice.
Everyone.
But anyway, we'll stop talking about that because that's not what people are here for. We have a bunch of people in early this morning. I wonder if that's for the fact that our lead story is that there will be PS5s available on launch day. Not tomorrow, but the day after. Thursday, the PS5 comes out in the UK. As mentioned yesterday, myself and Bib both have PS5s on the way. Touch wood. Hopefully we will have our PS5s. Hopefully we can unbox them and go through all of that stuff with you live here on twitch.tv/icecream uploads. But if you're not interested in that and you're kind of interested in getting them for yourselves, then well, this might be a bit of good news for you. Obviously, the obvious caveat from this, which is the same thing that we've been echoing for the last couple of weeks, is there could be some at launch. There could be some at the end of November. There could be more in December. But every single time it happens, there's not going to be enough. There won't be enough for everyone that wants one. So you will either have to be lucky or fast or both. But jumping into the news then. Okay. Do you know what? I'm going to give up on Streamlabs because my Chrome bit's just crapped itself again. So I'm going to have to come off that and go back onto that. There we go. Amazon EU will have PlayStation 5 stock on launch day. This is a news article from Don Peppiatt at VG247. This came out just last night, so it's very, very fresh. 10 to 9 last night this news was published, and it says that players that are eager to pick up a PS5 in Italy, Spain, or here in the UK should check Amazon on November the 19th. Amazon has today confirmed that it will have PS5 stock on launch day in the European region. The retail giant emailed customers in the UK, Italy, and Spain today, which was yesterday, Monday, November 16th, to confirm it will be releasing more PS5 stock from 12 p.m. GMT, that's 1 p.m. CEST, for those of you in Europe, on November the 19th. This will be welcome news to users that have been trying to find a PS5 in vain in the EU region since the vast majority of hardware sold out when pre-orders opened. A quote within the article says, "We will make every effort to deliver all orders as soon as possible," Amazon's email read. "If you order, we will email you with an estimated delivery date. However, this may be subject to change." The new stock allocation comes as Xbox admits that stock shortages for the Xbox Series X and S may last well into 2021. We will cover that one actually in the next news article. But if you're in the UK, High Street retailer Game has announced it will also be selling a limited number of consoles on launch day. Just be aware that any orders placed can't be met with an exact delivery date. It appears that most retailers have already sold their initial PS5 stock allocation. We're seeing some consoles pop up every now and then, but for the most part, it's sold out. If you're eager to keep your eye on PS5 restocks as they happen, you should hit the link. It contains everything you need to know about the PS5 consoles in your region. Nice little bit of a tangent. Click through extra links from VG247. I see what you're doing. Yeah. GG, guys. But there you go. To summarise, there will be extra consoles. There won't be enough consoles, and to make that even more, to stress that point even more, they can't guarantee delivery dates. So if you order it on launch day, you might get it within a couple of days. You might get an next day delivery. You might get, okay, it's going to be 2 weeks or whatever, but there will be extra consoles on launch day. So advice, Amazon, one window, game, another window, hit the fucking F5. But PS5 UK launch day stock thoughts.
Yeah. First thought is can't fucking wait for mine. Hopefully that should be coming on Thursday. Knowing my luck, it probably will come on Friday. But yeah, I mean, I think the reason why they know that they've got more available is I think a lot of people were probably covering bases, so they would have tried to pre-order from 3 or 4 different places. It just so happens that the one that they confirmed seems to be away from Amazon. So clearly they've got a lot of pre-orders that don't need to be sent out to the people who pre-ordered them in the first place. So yeah, that means that whoever wants to pick one up will have a chance to pick one up. It doesn't say how many, so it will, like you said, be a case of you sat there setting your alarm, and as soon as it's available, just control F5 until it comes around. Everyone tried to pre-order one way or another by going onto about 1 billion different websites. Like, I got one probably hours after the cutoff was, because one of my mates sent me a link and said, look, you can get one from here, and it literally ended up being at Very. That was the only place that I could get hold of one. I had like 5 or 6 websites open, couldn't get hold of one. hours later, I managed to get hold of one, so all was not lost, but managed to secure it later than everybody else, which I was extremely happy about.
See,
But yeah, it's just
things like Very are really good shouts. So we know Amazon obviously is huge and commands more market share than most retailers. Same thing with game when it comes to consoles. But things like Very, it's easy to underestimate just how much they actually plow through. I mean, nationwide delivery service. But someone says, where are you going to get your console from? Amazon. Where are you going to get your console from? Game. Very few people start off with Very. So places like that are your like when I was saying, you probably, if you do want to go to a game store to pick one up, I mean, this was pre-lockdown, was locked in, so we were like, yeah, if you want to go to a store and pick one up on launch day, if you go to game at the Trafford Centre, they're going to be sold out. You go to game at the Arndale, going to be sold out. If you've got a game like on the edge of town or in your sort of like suburban area or whatever, if there's a game in that sort of region, you might find that they have more stock because people are all going to the same places. So thinking outside the box is a good way to do it. So something like Very, definitely a good shout.
AO was another one.
AO. Yeah, AO.com. Yeah. And really good company as well, because if they feck up your order, they'll give you all sorts of money back and shit. So yeah, I mean, I used to work with AO.com, so, you know, I'm biased or whatever, but yeah, nice. Okay, just got messages coming through. But yes, Amazon will have more stock. It will go live at 12 noon. We did see on the initial batch, I think Amazon sold out in, like, was it 21 minutes or something like that? And that is 150,000 consoles or whatever it's going to be. Yeah. Well, that's the whole UK, not just Amazon. Let's say many thousands of consoles across the UK. Amazon will sell all of their allocation incredibly quickly. If they can sell their main allocation in 21 minutes, they will sell their other allocation in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So my only advice is, one, be prepared to be let down. It won't be straightforward. It won't be clear cut. Two, do everything you can to make sure you're set. At 11:58, 11:57, 11:50, make sure you're sat there with your browsers open, your tabs open. All your payment details are correct. You've got your card in front of you just in case you need to enter details at the checkout, or know your CVV number or CVC number, whatever it's called, on the back of the card. At least all of that to hand, because you will need to fly through that. Even then, you're probably going to put your fist through your monitor because the websites are going to be under incredible strain. There'll be all sorts of issues with it. When I got mine from Game pre-launch, I pre-ordered it, I couldn't log into my account. I had to check out as a guest, which shout to Asim Tanvir once again for the second time this morning, because I saw his tweet and he was like, you can't log in. So I was like, well, I'm going to give up then. What's the point? I need my points. And he was like, no, just check through it as a guest. They'll give you your points afterwards, which they did. So yeah, that's the way that I went around doing it. But be aware that there will be all those sorts of issues. Check Amazon, check Game, and then also check everywhere else. Make sure you're there on the dot though. Macalo, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome in. Hey, how's your weekend been, dude? Dark Indigo 1988 as well, and I think that was when we came live. But thank you very much for the follow. Macalo says, finally I get to catch you live. Just dropping in to give you a nudge before I board the sleep train. Thank you very much. What time is it where you are? It is New Zealand, right? Is that where you are? I could grab you one earlier. What time with me living in the future? Only I'd have to wait 4 months for COVID shipping from New Zealand. Yeah, exactly. Nice. Let me jump back through the chat because it has moved quite a bit. I read that one from Tito. Crackly Mike, for the love of God, bring back Graham's Crackly Mike. I can't take Bibby's singing. Jess says 10 out of 10, great Bibby hold music. I'd turn my chair for you, Bib. Says Asim.
Oh,
hey. Oh. That's the voice, by the way. That's not a euphemism. I mean, it could be a euphemism, with Asim, but yeah. Gary Clark, what does that say, Bib?
Hello.
What does Gary Clark's message say? I wanted you to say morning shaggers, but it's fine.
Oh, it was already way up.
Asim say most welcome as well. Thank you once again. Thank you for the 2K support as well, by the way. If you say John Lewis, that's old news, Kappa. Says Arms. No, Amazon and Game both confirmed for having extra stock. Madge says, I have a PS5, touch wood, if Graham or Bibby reroute their PS5 order to my house. It's not going to happen.
To be fair, someone did actually comment for you guys that are on YouTube that are watching this later. One of you lot, I'm sure you'll know who it is. Not that, obviously, it's someone that comes into the Twitch, but he clearly is someone who watches it on the YouTube channel. Comment that said, can you walk into Asda and pick one up? probably not this time round.
Yeah.
Maybe early next year, but not anytime soon. I don't think.
Yeah, that was the response that I put on. It was something along the lines of, technically, yes, you can walk into Asda and pick one up. You can't walk into Game and pick one up because lockdown. But technically, you can walk into Asda and pick one up. In reality, will they have stock in that store? Probably not. So technically, you can walk into to Asda or Tesco or anywhere else that's an essential retailer and pick one up if they have the stock. And you are potentially... there is the potential for that to happen. Like I mentioned last year, with all of the shit show that I had with the PS4 and my order being cancelled, I was just randomly in Regent Road, Sainsbury's on a Sunday doing my weekly shop kind of thing, and there was PS4s on the shelf. There was just two of them sat there. I was like, it was that meme of the kid with the cup in his hands and the eyes like, yoink, straight into the basket.
Yeah.
I'll stick that in my basket. So yeah, there we go. Ended up with a PS4. So that could happen in your local Tesco, your local Sainsbury's, your local Asda. Other supermarkets are available. You may be able to find yourself a PS5 there. It's probably harder this time though. Last generation was difficult. It's easy to forget just how difficult it was now looking back because we all have them, but it was incredibly difficult to buy a PS4. The PS5 is probably going to be harder because of the situation that we have. So yeah, I would get the physical strategy as your second plan. If you are after one and you're willing to spend the money but you don't want to get done by the scalpers, then doing the online splurge is probably the best bet. That's probably a good second course of action. Your good first course of action is be at the stores first thing in the morning. If they're not there, go home ready for 12 noon so that you could do the game and Amazon refreshers. My PS5 has been in Shop2's website ready to go for about a week now. Just send the thing out already. I know, heartbreak.
One of the mates was saying that his brother works at Curry's in Leeds, and they've had the stock for about 10 days, but obviously they just can't do anything about it. They're just sat in the back.
Yes. Apart from all the guys at Curry's who work at Curry's are all sat at home in their PS5 party chat that night.
They're just setting it up on the TVs inside the store when everyone leaves.
No, it's the store manager's just let all his staff take him home because he wants one as well. It's all right. Well, I'll see you all on tonight in Godfall. Yeah, nice. Alan says, I'm buying one. I'm only buying one this year because my holiday got cancelled, Silver Line and all that. Well, there you go. It's a nice at-home holiday. I mean, I'm completely on board with that sort of stuff. So yeah. Asim says, I've had 3 people slide into my DMs this past week to see if I can sort them a PS5 personally or via industry contact. I'm like, confused face. Do you know what? I've had that multiple times. People, I've had it from, I always have it from relatives because my family don't really understand what I do in the games industry or what my influence is. And even if I had influence, even if I was an influencer of the top variety, the chances are influencers will get a console for themselves, but the chances are influencers aren't going to get more than one console. So even if I was top level influencer, Bibbe, even if I was Bibbe, a top level influencer like that, yeah, I'll get my free console for me. But PlayStation aren't going to give me another one to pass on, and I'm not going to give my console to someone else. So yeah, I completely agree with that one. That's it. Usually it's my cousin or something that goes, I know you work in video games. Can you bag me a PS5? It's like, mate, I can't get myself one. I had to fucking order from Game at 12:10 one Thursday night using a guest account. There's no way I can get you one. It's not going to happen. Tito says, Asim, what about an Xbox Kappa? Sounds like it might be the real life remake of Jingle All the Way, just the COVID version. Oh, incredible. Loving hearing some right proper accents. It's been a while. Just want to that command list, by the way, Macalo, is old. We haven't updated that for about 2 years. So yeah, we don't have too many interactive commands in that sort of sense. Exclamation mark giveaway, exclamation mark 2K, exclamation mark Cyberpunk. They're the main ones right now. Yeah. And exclamation mark loot drop. The other bits to mention. For those of you who don't know, Macalo is a PUBG streamer, and we raided him after PUBG, our PUBG stream on Friday when we just hit. Was it Friday? Maybe Thursday. Anyway, we just hit 2K followers, I think, and then we raided Macalo. He is a man from Bolton that lives in New Zealand, so that's where the accent's coming from. So there you go. Yep. Explorer Toss, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome into the stream. So Winks at Asymptovia, make that fall, sweet cheeks. Arm says, I remember when I worked at Game, we had Wii consoles in stock a week prior, hammered Wii Sports all week and traded mine in on launch day. get that value for money back, god damn. Just looking for our Discord. Exclamation mark Discord should be what you need. There you go. Boom, link there in the chat for you. Amazon EU will have PS5 stock on launch day, as will Game. Both will be in very limited supply. Neither can guarantee fixed postal time periods. So you can order it, maybe. You can get it delivered soon, potentially. Nothing is guaranteed, but if you can get it in the bag and you can get a loose delivery frame of, say, a couple of weeks, then, do you know, that's better than April 2021. Speaking of April 2021... a nice tangent into our next news cycle. It was teased within that one, so you can obviously guess where we are going at. But the Xbox Series X and S supply shortages are expected to continue until April 2021, says Microsoft. This is written by Don Peppiatt at VG247. Once again, last night this article was published and it says Microsoft has acknowledged hardware shortages for the Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X may last well into 2021. Keen gamers around the world have struggled to get their hands on Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S consoles. My God, you don't need to say the full thing all the time. You're making me trip up with my words. Might as well say Xbox box.
Yeah, yeah. Fantasy, yeah.
What was yesterday's? Place fates rather than face plates. I couldn't say face plates. Place fates. Anyway, let's start this paragraph again. Keen gamers around the world that have struggled to get their hands on the Xbox consoles since launch, and it looks like things aren't going to get any easier for any eager consumers anytime soon. During last week's Jefferies Interactive Entertainment Conference, transcribed by Seeking Alpha, Microsoft's Chief Financial Officer Tim Stewart acknowledged the supply and demand disparity with the new hardware and suggested it's going to last a while longer yet. Steel Bonsai, thank you very much for the host. Welcome in, dude. How are you doing? So we have a quote within the article that says, I think we'll continue to see supply shortages as we head into the post-holiday quarter. So Microsoft's Q3 calendar Q1. So Microsoft's Q3 calendar Q1, and then we go into Q4. All of our supply chain continuing to go in full speed, heading into the kind of pre-summer months, said Stewart. So basically, the first part of the year, they're still going to have supply shortages. That's what that is. I'm just confirming that because I did butcher a little bit as I read through it, but I'll continue. If you're unfamiliar with Microsoft's financial year, see you chuckling there, babe. If you're unfamiliar with Microsoft's financial year, that means we can expect supply to level out more predictably around April 2021. Good luck getting yourself a console in the bag before then if you're chomping at the bit. Xbox boss, Phil Spencer. Okay, I'm going to actually try it this time. Xbox boss, way! Phil Spencer has also acknowledged the shortages and has apologised during a recent appearance over at GlitchCon. We need more consoles, Spencer admitted. The number one request I get over and over is it's so hard to get the consoles right now, and I really apologise for that. We've been building them for almost 2 months now and trying to get as many into the stores as we can, but the demand is just so high. At least we know Microsoft is doing everything in its power to make more stock available. In an Xbox Wire post last week, Liz Hamron, CVP of Gaming Experiences and Platforms at Microsoft, assured consumers that the company is working with retailers to make the stock more stock available. Okay, we'll put a pin in that there. We don't need to read the last bits. But the Xbox bosses have announced that the Xbox Series X and S supply shortages are gonna continue until at least the next tax year. Thoughts, babe?
I don't think this is new news. We would have assumed if we didn't already just have the PlayStation 5 news that this would be the same case. It's just I don't know if this is mad coincidence or PlayStation have been waiting for a statement like this to come out from Xbox to then immediately reply with, "We'll have someone launched. Don't worry about it." But we thought we genuinely. I don't think there's anybody that didn't think that there was going to be a shortage well into next year. There's not enough time for the rest of this year. I know this year has gone extremely quick anyway, but having a holiday launch for a new console doesn't really give you much chance before the end of the year to get a new console to restock and get them out, even if it is Christmas. And obviously the turnaround on shelves is quite fast. We thought this would be the case. I don't think this is new news. It's just it looks a little bit of a weaker statement now, obviously because Sony have come out and said that they will have some consoles to bring out around launch time. It just, I mean, in that statement it did say just EU, but I imagine it'd be the same around the world anyway.
Yeah, I imagine so. Slight
I mean,
differences,
in
maybe.
America, they could already be restocked. Do you know what I mean? People could actually go. I've seen a lot of pictures of Americans that I follow on YouTube, Twitter, or on any kind of social media, and they're walking into shops and picking up consoles. So obviously, it's a completely different ball game over there than it is over here. So, yeah, it's. I don't think this is new news. It shouldn't be news that is going to offend you. It's something that we already knew. It's just a mad coincidence that PlayStation have come out and said that we're going to have some consoles for you on launch day that you can go and pick up yourself.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they are available in the EU will almost definitely be the same with the US. What was it yesterday? The article that we read, did it say that the UK and EU is the second biggest? Or was it no? Not even the EU. The UK was the second largest territory outside of the US, or something like that. Either the second largest outside the US or the second largest after the US. I can't remember which one it was, but anyway, we sell a shitload in the UK. So if our stock is low because we're such a big sales area for them, you can expect most other areas to be low as well. The US obviously may get more with it being the primary sales area, but even still, it would be reflective. So yeah, shortages all the way until April 2021. Do you know what? We did say that we expected it to last a fair while into April 2021, but I must admit I did get swept up a little bit by the PR statements. So we said, okay, there's going to be shortages. There's going to be a huge demand because people are at home, they want things to do, so people are going to want to buy consoles. There's going to be a huge demand and not enough supply because COVID and the logistics of getting consoles manufactured and shipped across from wherever they're manufactured and spread around the world into the hands of people that want them. There's not going to be enough, and that would last into 2021. But with Spencer and all the rest of people saying early on, no, there's going to be no issue with stock. Yeah, COVID's not affected us at all, is what they were saying. That's a little bit different to, I mean, the comments that he does say in this. I think this is the first time that I've seen that contrasting statement. We've been building them for almost 2 months now and trying to get as many into the stores as we can, but the demand is just so high. I think that's the first time I've seen them recognise that the demand doesn't meet the stock levels that they've actually had. Not I think it's a blame, or I want to point the finger at them and go, you fucked up, because pandemic. What can you do? But it's the first time I've seen them acknowledge him. Up until a month ago, yeah, there's plenty of consoles. High five your friends, go whatever. Everyone's going to have an Xbox. Yeah, you can have two. Yeah, Oprah Winfrey gift. You get an Xbox. You get an Xbox. In reality, that's not what's happened. So I kind of thought, okay, do you know what? Maybe they'll be a bit stretched at launch, but they are being built. They are on their way. We just, in my head, I had an image of like a trail of containers, like tankers, just like trundling the way across the Pacific or the Atlantic or whichever direction they go around, with consoles just like just waiting. Someone on the dock tapping his watch, waiting for the consoles to arrive. In reality, that's not the case. They're not sat there waiting to get onto shore. If it's going to be all the way through to April 2021, they just don't have enough made. So the containers aren't the issue. The backlog is further down the production line, which I thought there would be a delay. I didn't expect it to be. I mean, what, November to April? Is that 6 months, 5 months? Quick maths, I can't know. It was a number of months.
Do you think he's saying the truth though? Do you think he's telling the truth?
In what sense?
Because I know that there was always going to be a case of them not having the console at launch. That's kind of a given because of the capacity and how many they tried to ship out. I mean, they're claiming that it's their most, it's the best console in terms of smashing records that they've ever sold. Fair enough, that makes sense. So, did they think that they needed to have as many consoles out at that? Did they think that 155,000 would be sold at that time? But that said, do you think that it will take another 5 months for them to ship it out, or do you reckon he's just being careful?
I can see that being the case. I think it's probably going to be 5 months until it normalizes. Maybe not if you order it and you'll get it in 5 months. I think if you order it, you'll probably, if you can get your order in, you'll get it within weeks, a month-ish. Well, there you go. As Magic Man has just said in the chat, order a PS5 and get it. Ish. That same sort of logic. I imagine if you order it, you'll get it, but it won't be a case of you can guarantee that I want a PS5. I can just load up game and go buy, add that to my basket and check out. Boom. I think it'll be April 2021 before we get that level of, okay, what I want, I can get. If you want a PS4 now, you can buy one. yeah, we're at the end of the life cycle, but it's been like that for 6 years now, and it'll be until April 2021 before supply and demand balance, so that there will always be enough supply to meet the ongoing demand. I think that's what he's essentially saying there. Rather than ordering it now and you won't get one till then. It will be difficult until then. After that point, they expect it to be flat. Chappers, morning, dude.
Then,
what you say?
Do you think that they could have potentially, on their website, put down a reservation list for people so they know how many consoles are in demand? It'd say that like what was it Curry's that Shop 2, I think it was, that did the 99p thing, did it? Like Xbox on their website or whatever other retailer's website. Put your name down, 99p, reserve yours. We can't tell you when, you're just in a list. Do you reckon that would have been effective so they know how many people are on the list and how many they could have potentially sold?
I don't think, because of the scale of it, I don't think they necessarily need that sort of like finger in the wind measurement of demand. I think that they will just continue churning as many as they can, as fast as they can, until they then start to see a slowdown of sales. So they'll just keep going until the point of okay, now we don't need to create as many. The demand is dropping off. We're starting to get a backlog, so we will. I think they'll probably control the production and manage it from the production side as opposed to manage it from the consumer facing side. I mean, later in the life cycle, yeah, that will probably change around until we get the Xbox Series X Ultra One box or something, whatever the mid-life console is going to be. Then yeah, it'll flip back up again. But yeah, I think that's probably more like the way it will go. Gary says Xbox box plate face. It was actually not a plate face. It was a place fate, actually. So what you said was real words. Mine wasn't. There you go. Cheeto says, for fuck's sake, it's champing at the bit. It annoys the hell out of me at that. Yeah, there's certain statements that just grind the gears. And yeah, chomping at the bit. It's not even words. What are you doing? Gary says, Xbox's marketing is hilarious, by the way. The most powerful Xbox ever. You'd think, right? To be fair,
No way.
on the surface, that seems like kind of like, I hope so, because, I mean, I'm not going to spend 450 quid for something that's not as good as the last one. But if you re-examine that, it actually makes quite a bit of sense, because if you walk into game and then there's the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S and the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S and an Xbox One, you want the box that says the most powerful Xbox ever, because you need that sort of clarification. Which one do I get? That one's the most powerful Xbox ever. Oh, sold. There you go. So Xbox know their marketing is that complicated that they have to make it simplified for themselves. There you go. To be honest, I'm not that fussed. I don't have the new Series X, but I will get it at some point soon. Hell yeah! There we go. Said the same BS when the One X was released. Exactly. To be fair to them, they aren't wrong, but that's why it's so ironic. That's it. I mean, it's just a simplifier. You need it to understand. David says, well, at least this year we're going to see who the dedicated gaming thieves are, because in the first round of COVID, all theft crimes pretty much stopped. But usually there's a spike when new consoles/games are released. Well, it's already been happening. Me and Bibi were talking about it. He mentioned, I don't know if it was on air or off air. He mentioned Mane, who's a content creator, YouTuber, streamer that we know through our work with Pez. And yeah, he had his console nabbed. And you mentioned, what was it? It was Chucky. I don't know if he's in. Good morning, Chucky, if you're in. If not, still good morning anyway. He's had something nabbed of his as well. But yeah, it's already happening. Postal delivery people going, oh, it went missing. It was handed to resident. No, it fucking won't. The likes of Games website saying pre-order now for the 10th of December for what it's worth. Interesting. Just in time for well. Is your birthday on the 10th? Or is it the 9th? Is it shows on the 10th? Oh, okay. No, shows is the 10th? I don't know. It's too many birthdays. As long as Jericho is lording over the list with a little bit of the bubbly. Xbox Series S, the most powerful Xbox ever, but wait till you see what we got cooking in the lab next. Exactly. I mean, what does the next one? I mean, does it become the newer, most powerful Xbox ever? What's the tagline? What if the Xbox One X still says most powerful console ever on the box? Okay, yeah, that's confusing. Good point, Tito. Good point. Just get a sticker over the like. Do you know, like when you got like, there was a big space. I used to work in retail a million years ago, and we had Easter eggs. and it was when the law changed on I had to have this may contain traces of nuts or may contain nuts, and I had to spend like 2 full days in a shop sticking sticker on Easter eggs, like little purple stickers on the Cadbury Easter eggs saying this may contain traces of nuts. And no word of a lie, I had to take all of the Cadbury's whole nut Easter eggs off and put a sticker on the box to say that it may contain traces of nut. I'd spend an hour just stickering whole nut eggs to say they can. So yeah, there we go. We need that sort of thing happening. We need someone to go on and say this, the most powerful Xbox ever. They need to stick a sticker over it that says used to be the most powerful Xbox ever, or not anymore, something along that fashion. Xbox X, the most powerful we've ever made until the next one.
Yeah.
Did anyone see that someone in the US stole a DualSense in a store over there? It was hanging up in a wire security frame, and someone just ripped the corner of the box and took it. Seriously? I mean, just doesn't seem very sensible to me. I apologise. Danielle says, time well spent. I enjoyed it, as you can tell. Like 15 years later, I'm still complaining about sticking nuts stickers on nuts. It's like peanuts. Warning, may contain nuts. I fucking well hope so. Exactly, that's what it was. Actual nuts inside the Easter eggs. We had to warn people that contain nuts. But anyway, let's put a pin in that. And we'll come back to a little bit more Xbox-related news. So we're not going to go too far. We are moving away from the consoles. But the next story is from Tom Ivan at VGC, and it says Microsoft will announce first-party Xbox Series X and S software pricing in due time. So the company has yet to confirm how much its next-gen games will cost. This is an interesting one. I didn't realise that they'd not done this. I know that PlayStation had, and I just assumed that was 70 quid for the next gen. Be interesting to see where Microsoft go. But anyway, jumping into the article, it says Microsoft is continuing to play its cards close to its chest when it comes to next-gen software pricing. Earlier this year, Take-Two's NBA 2K21 became the first next-gen game to be priced at $70. Other publishers have since followed suit, including Activision with Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, and Sony with selected first-party titles, including Demon's Souls. With Halo Infinite delayed to 2021, Microsoft didn't release any brand new games for the Xbox Series X and S at launch, meaning it hasn't had to reveal its next-gen software pricing strategy. And Xbox CFO Tim Stewart, I'm assuming that's Chief Financial Officer, Tim Stewart was non-committal when asked if it will raise its prices for the first-party titles during a recent interview. I think we're not making any specific announcements on first-party pricing yet, he said at the Jefferies Interactive Entertainment conference, transcribed by Seeking Alpha. Second time I've said that today. I've never heard of that conference before in my life, and I've said it twice. So we'll do that sort of in due time. With major console games having carried a $60 price tag since 2005, multiple publishers have argued that increased prices are necessary to counter spiraling development costs. Prices have not gone up in for a couple of generations now, so it's not unheard of to see things like this going on, Stewart said. And to the point earlier, content creation costs go up. And these publishers and content creators, including ourselves, want to make sure you're driving the right gross margin profiles, that the right earning profiles of what it takes to build these new, awesome, amazing games. And you want to make sure you have a good top line to support that. Microsoft is not alone in its cautious messaging surrounding next-gen software prices. FIFA and Madden publisher EA claimed this month that it hasn't decided whether it will raise the prices for its PS5 and Xbox Series X and S games in the future. And even those that have announced $70 price points have only done so for selected games. A Sony spokesperson recently pointed out that the $70 price tag is currently reserved for its biggest first-party PS5 titles in a strategy reflective of the growing development resources needed for these ambitious games. The CEO of Take-Two, which owns publishing labels 2K and Rockstar, has said the publisher will decide software pricing on a title-by-title basis. Capcom is also taking this approach. We believe game software prices should be determined by how much money consumers are willing to pay for the quality, not by how much money we spend to make that game, Chief Financial Officer Kenkichi Nomura told Bloomberg. Anyway, we'll leave it there because it's going into different tangents. But the gist of it, Microsoft hasn't confirmed first-party Xbox Series X and S software prices and will announce them in due time. Bib, thoughts?
This doesn't surprise.
Bib.
I was going to say this doesn't surprise me that they want to keep the cards close to the chest, but ultimately, I don't think they're going to raise the price of their games, their first-party games anyway. Because why would they when they want you to buy Games Pass? Why would they increase the price of the game? Then again, that could be smart. That could be very smart. Increase the price of the game, and if you want to buy the game, you can then buy into Xbox Game Pass, which will then probably keep you in that ecosystem for however long you want to be in there, which is probably going to be a couple of months because you want to play through everything. I think that thinking about it now, I'm doubting myself. That probably would be a very good idea. Raise it to 70. People don't want to pay the extra 10. That 10 difference will then hook you into going into Games Pass. Boom.
I
There's
mean,
your market.
that's kind of the thing. I mean, I would be surprised, I think, if they didn't use the opportunity to take. It's almost like a gift. It's not a gift because a lot of people don't like to see the cost of games going up, and I understand that in certain. Not I understand it completely, but I agree with that in certain situations. If you've got a game that's full price and then the price goes up, but then they're still ploughing that game full of microtransactions, full of DLC, full of advertising, that's something that grates on me even more. Then, okay, you're not justifying the price increase. You're taking extra money and still advertising to me in something that I've paid full price for. The pounds per minute cost of video games is incredibly low, and I don't have any issue with the costs going up to match development costs, to make sure that employees are being paid, to make sure that profits are all going in the right places. I don't want to see a company charging more for games, still ripping off their employees and making absolute shed loads in the back end. That's not what I want. I would like to see the cost of games increase in a way where it's reflective across the board. We get better in-game systems, and that's fine. Okay, that's idealism. It's not necessarily going to work in that sort of sense, but the costs are going up. Activision, Sony, 2K, huge companies with massive games are putting the price up for the top end of the titles. They've already kind of taken the hit. If you put the prices up, you will piss people off. Even if it's justified or whatever, you will piss a good chunk of people off by putting the prices up. People don't want to spend money on things. It's common sense. You work hard for your money. You don't want to give it away.
Yeah.
But they've taken that fight and they've won the fight, if that's what you can call it. They've had the fight anyway. They've got the battle scars and everything's moved on since then. Microsoft now have a free pass to just kind of skirt past the battle and just be there in the victory end zone, taking the spoils. Yeah, 70 quid. Woo, woo, woo. So I wouldn't be surprised if they take the 70 quid. But that said, Game Pass is the golden jewel in the Xbox crown. So them putting the price up either kind of goes against that, or like you said, absolutely gives a huge hand in. Do you buy Xbox games for 70 quid, or do you spend 70 quid and have all the Xbox games for over half a year? Do you buy one game now for 70 quid, or get them all for half a year? So
where that game would be included in the bundle.
Yeah, exactly. First party game included in the bundle. Yeah, it gives a huge pat on the back for Game Pass to me. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them coming in at 70 quid or $70, and then that feeding one hand feeding the other with Game Pass.
Yeah, I think that might be the play. I mean, I was thinking, yeah, they probably won't increase it because they don't really need to. They want you to buy into it, and then I'm thinking, yeah, in fact, yeah, they probably may increase it just to try and get you into Games Pass, which still, say all the time, phenomenal value for money. Absolutely. If you haven't got Games Pass already, especially if you're getting a new Xbox console, even for Games Pass PC. This is not an ad. This is not #spons. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
We need like a little button that I can press so it brings up an animation where it goes like ad, even if it's not an ad. Ad, well, not really. Ad, not
good.
Really.
It's that good that PlayStation are trying to emulate it with this PlayStation Plus collection, which I did actually find the price of yesterday. I think it's £10 a month, £24 for 3 months, and £60 for the year.
What's this? I mean, PlayStation Plus collection was free for next gen. I don't know. As far as I was aware. Oh no, you're right. Yeah, $9.99 a month. Unless, am I mixing it up with something? Oh no, it is. You're right. Yeah. Plus, okay, yeah. I mean, you're never gonna win at $9.99 a month for such a small selection of games.
But they are banging games. Like, the games that are included in this collection are unbelievable, especially if you've not played them before. Because a lot of these games will have been upscaled for PlayStation 5 as well. So you are getting the better version of the original game for a fraction of the price, as well as if you play one game, 17 other games in the collection. So it's definitely worth it.
I
It
get.
just isn't available
So
as much.
yeah, so you pay for your PS Plus anyway. So the PS Plus collection, isn't on top of that. It's just within your normal PS Plus costs. So you get all of those games. If you have PS Plus, which you need to play online on a PlayStation, you get all of those games within that. Which is what I thought it was, yeah. So God of War, Bloodborne, Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition, Mortal Kombat 10, Until Dawn, Last Guardian, Last of Us, Remastered, Persona, Resident Evil 7, Monster Hunter World, Fallout 4, Uncharted 4, Ratchet and Clank, Days Gone, Detroit Become Human, Battlefield 1, from other games that run out of breath. All of those you can play on the next gen consoles. The only caveat is that you need to have a PS5 and PS Plus. If you have a PS4, you don't get those games. It's basically their nudge to buy you to get you to buy into the next gen. So they will be free, free in the same way that Game Pass games are free.
Yeah.
It's not free, but it kind of is.
Well, I mean, 60 because the Xbox make you pay for Xbox Live Gold, and then you have to pay for Games Pass on top of that. Fair enough. Xbox Game Pass has a lot more games in there, but I'd say a lot of the games in there are nowhere near as good as the games that are listed in here.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it is just a little bit naff stuff. There is still a lot of good games in Games Pass. Do not get me wrong. A lot of first party stuff and a lot of third party stuff that's amazing. But I think when it comes to exclusives, there is a lot of good games in this list that you will not be able to play anywhere else. So for the sake of paying for your monthly subscription, you're getting these as well. It's again a very, 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 very good deal in video games.
Yeah, it is. And the thing with like the quality of the games in the PS Plus collection, this is obviously a very subjective statement. Depends on what kind of games you're interested in. The games in the PS Plus collection, which are free, I will play ahead of the majority of all of the games in Xbox Game Pass, which I have to pay for. The difference is those games came out last year, the year before, the year before. Xbox Game Pass, Gears 5 comes out, it's their day one. Halo comes out, it's going to be their day one. You get those games. Sony will make you pay 70 quid and then make you wait 12 to 24 months before they come in the PS Plus collection, if they add to that in the future. So there is benefits for both. The games for me are better in the PS Plus collection. The value for money is I mean, I know they are free, but the value of one versus the other, the amount of games and the amount of time, the amount of new games and updates that we're more likely to get, still leans towards Game Pass. But yeah, both decent. Iceman, good morning, says there are places in the US that sell cheese that is actually imitation cheese. Yeah, like the spray stuff, they had to put something. They had to put imitation on it because it wasn't really cheese. It was all like plastic. Nice. I mean, I'm a fan of plastic cheese, but yeah, whatever. I understand the argument, but your final sales price is surely set about how you can spread your development cost of sales. The sales market for games is infinitely larger than some previous generations. Yeah, economics. I know it's common for pizza takeaways to use imitation cheese as it's cheaper than real cheese. No flavour, it's just texture. Also, fish and chip shops don't use vinegar. They use non-brewed condiment. I'll just say this. When normalisation of pricing went from 30 plus, 40 plus, 50 plus each time, the same things would be said to give cause for it. Game prices still got stealth taxed by the standard practice of DLC, season pass, microtransactions. Now an extra £10, it's doubtful. Extra revenue will go into the pockets of those creating the game, shareholders and execs. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Idealism versus reality. The ideal is that, I mean, video games are much bigger. You look at a video game now versus a video game from when you spent 30 quid, you cannot tell me that you can't see a difference. And you look at the amount of players, developers that go into a game on the SNES when they were still 40 quid, well, depending. You look at the size of a team of 7 people versus a team of hundreds of people. You've got like full orchestral scores and composers and things like that, which we didn't have. We had a guy composing on 8-bit computer things. So there's definitely increases in technology there that do need to be paid for. That said, that was my comment of, does all of that money go in the right place? That's a completely different conversation. Doesn't always. Ideally, it would do. Doesn't always. So yeah, on the surface, which is only where we're going to touch this because we'll be here for another hour. We've already covered this for like 3 hours on the Scoopy in the past month. But yeah, games do deserve their costs to go. If the market hasn't had a cost, that's just simple top level economics. If the market hasn't had any increase in the top level costs in 15 years, because it was 2005 the last time it went up, 15 years. I mean, inflation on everything else has gone up. Wages have gone up. That on bare level economics, that deserves to go up. Does all the money go in the right place? Yeah, well, that's a completely different conversation. Are they earning shitloads of profit? Do they need to earn more profit? Different conversation. But bare level economics, costs have gone up, so costs should go up. Yeah. Anyway, we're not having an economics chat. We'll talk about something that is a little bit different. A nice news article, actually, away from the next-gen consoles, because obviously we spend a lot of time talking about that. That's all we're going to be talking about for the next month. But this one is a nice, different article written by The Guardian, one that we never usually feature on the scoop, but this is written by Alex Hern, technology editor at The Guardian. It says, video gaming can benefit mental health, find Oxford academics. There you go. Video games are good for your mental health. I mean, imagine that. Video games aren't just something that take all your money and turn you into serial killers. Oh my god. So research...
No way.
I know, imagine. And this is from a mainstream news outlet as well. Wow. Research based on playing time data showed gamers reported greater well-being. So, playing video games can be good for your mental health. A study from Oxford University has suggested, following a breakthrough collaboration in which academics at the university worked with actual gameplay data for the first time. Imagine working with actual gameplay data for the first time on a study on... Wow! Anyway, the study, which focused on players of Nintendo's springtime craze Animal Crossing, as well as EA's shooters Plants vs. Zombies, Battle for Neighborville, found that people who played more games tended to report a greater well-being, casting further doubt on reports that video gaming can harm mental health. Crucially, the study was one of the first to be done using actual playtime data. Thanks to the internet-connected nature of the games, the Oxford University team was able to link up psychological questionnaires with true records of time spent playing games. Previous studies had tended to focus on self-reported time playing, which is, the study found, only weakly correlated with reality. Which basically means you think you've only played for a couple of hours this week. In reality, you've played for 18 hours and you've not even clocked most of it down. This is about bringing games into the fold of psychology research that's not a dumpster fire, said Andrew Przybylski, the lead researcher on the project. This lets us explain and understand games as a leisure activity. It was a quest to figure out, is data collected by gaming companies vaguely useful for academic and health and policy research? Przybylski said at the start of the project he was surprised by how little data gaming companies actually had about their players, but also by how little hard data had been used by previous studies into the potential harms or benefits of gaming. The study, he said, shows that if you play 4 hours a day of Animal Crossing, you're a much happier human being, but that's only interesting because of all the other research before this is done so badly. The researchers are keen to emphasise that the findings are not a carte blanche pass for games. I'm very confident that if the research goes on, we will learn about the things that we think of as toxic in games, Przybylski said. We will have evidence for those things as well. The research only studied all ages games, and other models of play could potentially be less wholesome. Similarly, the attitude one takes to gaming could affect the mental impact it has. The paper contrast intrinsic enjoyment, playing a game because it's fun, with extrinsic, more concerning behaviours such as feeling bullied into playing, either by other players or the game mechanics themselves. The researchers hope the study will introduce a higher standard of evidence to discussions about the concept of video game addiction or digital harms in general. You have really respected important bodies like the World Health Organization and the NHS allocating attention and resources to something that there's literally no good data on. And it's shocking to me that the reputational risk that everyone's taken, given the stakes, for them to turn around and be like, hey, this thing that 95% of teenagers do, yeah, that's addictive. No, we don't have any data. That makes no sense, Przybylski said. Apologies for butchering that name multiple times through the article. But there you go. Video games, on this evidence, can be very good for mental health. Does that surprise you, Bib?
Not one bit. I mean, it's 2020 is, if anything, this year a lot more people have probably either got back into video games as a way to connect with their friends that they may have either not spoke to for a long time, or they're already playing games and it's just that you've fallen by the wayside. It's a way to socialize, speak to your friends, and also play stuff. I mean, this has been the case for me for what feels like the longest time. I would much rather play through a storyline in a game than watch one on TV. And no one batters an eyelid about someone watching 6 hours of Netflix. But you play games for 6 hours and people go fucking lose their minds, kind of thing. So this isn't a massive surprise to me, and it probably won't be a surprise to people who are either watching this or in the chat. It's not something that we find odd. It's just norm. It's just the norm for us. Do you know what I mean? It's for everybody else to get brought up to speed as to what impact video games can have on you, either from a social standpoint, a creative standpoint, or just a way to immerse yourself into something completely different. There's a million different types of games out there. It could be something like Until Dawn, where it's a cinematic experience. It could be something like Spider-Man, where you're playing as a superhero. It could be Call of Duty, where you're playing in the World War. It could be absolutely anything. You can literally go through every single type of genre in terms of horror, cinematic, um, action, drama, anything. You can find it in a game somewhere. Educational. So for me, this isn't new news. It's just interesting that someone like a piece on the Guardian is trying to educate everybody else. I think we need more of this, but people just will write it off. We're bringing it to people's attention because obviously you found it and you think it's worthwhile spreading this to people who already know this information. It's for everybody else who tries to read this for the first time and go, actually, have I been too skeptical about what video games can do?
I've only. Oh, okay,
Those are my thoughts.
I thought you'd stop talking then, but you just kind of froze on my screen. And he's back. There we go. Nice. So yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off then. Yeah, no, the only reason I included it is because video games clearly cause us all to want to go out and shoot up schools and mean that we just sit in basements and grow neck beards and turn into big massive chubbers, and they have no benefit on our social interactions or anything really. Which is what most news outlets will tell you, and it's bullshit. It's bullshit. I've had many conversations, be it talking about video games in general, and just giving you simple problem-solving skills through to esports and becoming a team player, social skills, that developing competitive problem-solving, right down to escapism. And providing yourself a distraction. Sometimes we need distractions from the shit that's going on in our life just to make sure that we can just find a nice plateau. Everything's not peaks and troughs, and video games can give you that. That said, the one caveat I will throw in, which I only throw in just because I feel like it, just to give a little bit of balance, but it's an obvious caveat, is that in moderation and when done correctly. That said, food can be good for your health. Too much food or bad food can be bad for your health. The same with video games. Video games can be really good for your mental health. If you're playing video games that have stressful mechanics, video games that, like that mentioned there, almost the FOMO element, or you have to play every day to keep coming back to getting your scores, and you need to do these missions or you're not going to be competitive, and those games aren't necessarily great for your mental health. That's a completely different thing. I mean, aren't necessarily great for your mental health. If your mental health is the kind of thing that thinks that you want that drive, that passion, that mechanic to make you come back and play, then that could be great for your mental health. But everything in moderation based on individual selves. The gist of it though, video games are actually a really good thing. So there you go. Forget what most media and ignorant people will tell you. There was a thing actually last month maybe, some dude that was like, hey kids, I've got a request for you. Rather than sitting on your console and throwing a football around the field, go outside and throw an actual football rather than shooting people with guns. Go and enlist in military service in the real world like your granddad would have done, and he would have been proud of it. And it's like, you absolute whopper. You clearly just judge something from the outside without understanding it. And this article, the interesting thing is Oxford University have basically confirmed that they have evidence, not just oh yeah, it seems to be that case. No, nobody has any evidence that any of that shit is real. Then they have tons of evidence of them not having evidence. So they do their first bit of research with data, and it's actually, do you know what? The first bit of data-driven research shows that video games are pretty good. So imagine doing research with data. Wow, finding out that something that we all thought was good was actually good. What a world. What a world. 2020.
I don't think it's a coincidence that video games is the market leader when it comes to money now and time spent either watching or playing. It's a multi-billion dollar industry now. Much more so than TV and films. It's eclipsed those. What's the reason for that? Is it because they're more entertaining? Is it because people actually want to be involved? Is it because when you go to the cinema, obviously you don't really want to be talking to your friend when you're at the cinema because that just fucking annoy you and everybody else around you, but you get the opportunity to be able to experience things together with your friends or on your own in these massive games like The Last of Us, like Spider-Man, like God of War, like Halo. Just throwing an Xbox reference for you guys. So yeah, there's a lot more going on in the video game world than I think in the TV and film. That's something that I was saying to Samantha. I said it feels like every film has been done and it's just regurgitated now. Like you watch one horror film, you've pretty much seen them all. I know that's a very broad statement, but I feel like when you're playing a video game, the story it's a little bit different. At least you can interact with it. You can potentially change the outcome of what's going to happen. Yeah, it's what it is.
Jumping into the comments. Scrolling. Let's go up a bit. Asim says, don't get me started on this topic. Gargad says, it's the same it's always been. The old generation don't understand something, so it's bad. Rock and roll, punk, etc. I say this is one of the old generation. Not all old people, but many. No, I agree. It is. People don't like change. And people don't want... It's often not that people don't like change. People don't want to put the time into understanding change. For, like, old people, stereotyping, will listen to classical music. That classical music that's boring as shit, that doesn't apply to these young people, and it's just slow and monotonous. Fun fact, you go back, I think it was like 150 years, maybe not quite as far. Classical music was punk. The same sort of music of that time zone. Like jazz and stuff that we might just throw into classical music was a riff off of classical music that didn't happen. So, like, what we would class as slow, old people, jazzy sort of classical music was something that was crazy and wild and was frowned upon until society actually evolved. And the same thing with video games. And Bibby's saying it's video games takes more time out of people's lives, takes more money from people's lives because it's so successful and so good. I mean, for you'll see that used as a negative. Yeah, but it takes so much of your time. It takes so much of your money. It's bad, it's bad, it's bad. Anything could take time and money. Music can take time and money. Learning to play instruments could take time and money. Driving cars and being a race driver takes time and money. Everything takes time and money. It's just a matter of whether it's done correctly and in a moderation. And that's it. People don't understand things. They don't want to put the time, invest the time into understanding things. It's easy to just label it. So yeah, that's what they've been doing. Magic says, but it has season passes, etc. It's becoming the norm. Majority of games is a price rise. Flawed statement. I agree with the sentiment, but season passes provide extra content, so it is a price rise, but you're paying for extra content. The games on the SNES that didn't have a season pass didn't have extra content, didn't have online servers, and didn't have all that sort of stuff. So yes, it is. And obviously, once again, talking in ideals, you're paying for a season pass because you're paying for good quality content that matches the price. That's not always the case. If that's not the case, that's when there is a price rise there. So yes, statement I agree with. It's not a full statement, but I do agree with it. Asim says, I hate this notion that gaming for kids is immature or bad. Yes, it's bad if you're addicted, like many things in life. For the majority, it's hugely beneficial mentally, socially, cognitively, many more too. Lockdown. Chloe hasn't seen her friends anywhere near as much as she would have done. Yeah, going back to school has helped with that. But when we were in that few months of lockdown, gaming was pretty much the only thing that allowed her the opportunity to spend time with friends. So yeah, it's not a bad thing at all. It's not. Video gaming does open doors that people assume isn't. Tito says, like Pez then. Exactly. And also not exactly. It's once again, it's one of those things that is independent. I don't find for me, and this is not a bias because obviously we work with Pez, I don't find for me that Pez is something that gives me the FOMO. I can happily go without logging in Pez. I know that if I log in, I will get my daily login rewards, and if I get my first win, I will get my first win GP. But that doesn't hook me in. Other people might be like hugely strung up on that. More so, PUBG, which is a game I really enjoy. I want to log in every day and do my daily missions, which can be a fucking chore sometimes. It's not a case of fear of missing out. It's more a case of it's fear of not doing my challenges. So they can be good, they can be bad, but once again, it's hugely, hugely subjective and personal. Just finished setting up my new monitor and desk. Hey! Finally being a pro streamer and not just sitting on my sofa miles away from my camera. So when's the first stream, chappers? When's the first stream? Give us the ads and the spawns and the placements. We'll let you do it. Yeah. Jess says, Animal Crossing is my life. It's bad for you, by the way. Yeah. Incredibly bad. Oh, we're back. Did stream die, or was it me? Oh, I didn't have any drop frames or anything, so I'm assuming that was it. Your end, yeah, no frame drops. When Graham started saying, "Hey kids," I thought it was going with the full Eminem. "Hey kids, do you like violence?" What's the next line? "Hey kids, do you like violence? Do you want to see me stick 9-inch nails through each one of my eyelids? Do you want to do exactly as I did? Try saying and get fucked up worse than my life is?" Not that I listen to Eminem or anything, so yeah. Well.
DMCA.
For so many during this pandemic, gaming has been a lifeline. Allow them to socialise when they otherwise couldn't and have a sense of normality, me included. Starting playing Warzone with Barry, Wes and Co on the regular. We'll win, we'll lose. One constant, we'll always have a laugh and just chat. Exactly. That's the good thing about it. Same thing last night. We played about 8 games, me and my mates. We only won 1. But it was good. It was good. Oh, do you know what? Okay, absolute off tangent, brag. We were playing PUBG last night, and I've clearly got better at PUBG over the last few months, streaming it more regularly and so on, to the point where I soloed a full squad yesterday. I shot one guy, put him down, shot another guy, put him down. Oh no, it was only a 3 actually. I don't know where the 4th one, he must have died already. Anyway, the last guy was in a bit of a shootout with me. He kept missing me and I kept hitting him. I hit him that much to the point he thought, fuck it, just dropped a grenade on the floor and stood on it and blew himself up. I bullied him so much that he got himself out of the game. Yeah! Anyway, that's when it's good for my mental health, not so much for his. So, everything in moderation. Agreed. Without gaming, I'd be lost right now, says Gary. 100%. Same here. Nightly Warzone with friends has kept me sane. Living alone, Twitch and gaming keeps me sane and connected. Well, hopefully we're helping with that in good ways, keeping you sane, not the stress. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a little bit of, without being negative, an echo chamber, because we're all on Twitch talking about video games, so naturally we're going to find it beneficial and useful to us. But yeah, absolutely. Even beyond